Transformation, a deliberate and significant shift that brings us into alignment with our highest potential. Hello, I am Paula Fontana, Vice President of Corporate Partner Development with the National Black MBA Association, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Transformation Town Hall. So during this hour together, you will hear from our leadership about how this organization is in the midst of transformation. That will include our chairwoman of the board, our chief executive officer, as well as president, and yes, our executive leadership team. And then afterwards, we want to hear from you, and we'll answer your questions live. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce you to a woman who is a global human resources leader with work that spans over 57 countries and 8 business sectors. She is a founder and owner of a career development organization, and she is our chairwoman of the board. Ladies and gentlemen, Leslie Coleman.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you to all of you who have decided to join us today. We're super excited as I believe this is our very first town hall. We're thrilled that we are taking strides and going into our 46th conference, annual conference in Washington, D.C., September 17th through the 21st with lots of pride. And so I'm excited to be here today. Thrilled to have you join us, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you.
And now, our Chief Executive Officer and President, H. Beecher Hicks III.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to be with you all today, and as Leslie mentioned, I'm excited. This is our first town hall meeting together, and I'm delighted to take the opportunity to introduce myself to so many of you, maybe whom I haven't met, and to take the opportunity to introduce you all as well to our leadership team. So one of the things that I have found, I've been in this role now for 9 months, and one of the things that I wondered as I took on this assignment was, why do we choose a theme every year for our conference? Why do we use these themes? What difference do they make? And I've thought about it. How does that impact the 12,000 members that we have? And I worried. I was a little bit concerned that we were just kind of taking those kinds of things on for form. But I'll tell you, over the last 9 months or so, I've learned something about a theme. Last year's theme was forward, and during that period of time, your board of directors worked to stabilize the organization, and it began to shape a strategy that would set the association up to advance. I was hired as your CEO with a mandate to build out that strategy and to help move us forward. This year's theme has been affirm, and these last few months for me have been just that. They've been affirming. And so I can affirm that the theme affirm has driven our programming this year at the national as well as at the chapter level. I can affirm that our corporate and university partners generally think highly of our organization and want to work more with us. I can affirm that you have a board of directors that is focused on moving us forward. I can affirm that your chapter leaders are engaged and committed to the communities and to the professional development of the members that they serve. I can affirm that the headquarters team, several of whom have left us in recent months and moved on to other organizations, and several who've joined us in recent days, all together share a commitment to the growth, development, and the mission of the National Black MBA Association. And I can also affirm that our legacy leaders and our lifetime members are paying attention, and they're desirous of a more robust value proposition, and they intend to hold us accountable. But I can also affirm that there's plenty of work to be done and to deliver on the promise of the association. For example, our IT infrastructure does not match the sophistication of the work that we need to do to support our business and to support our members. Our business is far too dependent on our conference for program delivery and revenue generation. We need to be more collaborative and strategic in our relationship with our corporate and university partners. The relationship with our chapters is not well enough defined or supported. Our bylaws are too complicated. Our membership is growing too slowly because we aren't delivering enough value for those of you who are over 35 years old on this call today. And even our membership prices are too low. I can also affirm for you that DEI is not dead. Not as long as our corporate partners keep leaning in, and most of them are. Not as long as there is a wealth gap to be bridged. Not as long as access to capital and contracts for Black entrepreneurs is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Not as long as America is a capitalistic republic. Not as long as you keep doing the work you're doing and remember that you have a responsibility to vote. And not as long as there's a National Black MBA Association. So the themes of Forward and Affirm have been inspirational and enlightening for me, and they also lead to the theme that we'll adopt as this year's National Black Conference comes to a close: transform. Next year will be focused on transformation. So I'll tell you all, there are 3 elements to the work of transformation. One is to create a life cycle value proposition for our membership. Our programming is being revamped to speak to high school students and to corporate chief executives. Those interested in education, career and leadership development, wealth creation, wellness and lifestyle activities, as well as renewing the attention we pay to public policy issues that matter to our members. And let's be clear, we're also doubling down on entrepreneurship. This is both a career alternative and an approach to wealth building. So we'll speak to it from both vantage points. Number 2 is we've got to better define and support our chapters and our chapter leaders. So we're going to update our chapter affiliation agreements to fill in some gaps and clarify the obligations of the National Association. We're going to improve how we collaborate with the chapters and corporate partners to go to market as one Black MBA. We're going to grow the chapter network and provide more support for those chapters most hurt during the pandemic. And we'll enhance leadership development opportunities for chapter leaders. And then finally, we're going to tell our story better. Each of you are doing amazing work in your communities and on your jobs. We need to celebrate you. The economic, political, and social impact of our association, its chapters, and its members is formidable. And we need to make certain that our collective power is better understood and that it accrues to your benefit. And so to bring all this together, we've developed a strategic plan for transformation that I'll be sharing with the board of directors in our meeting tomorrow. And once adopted, I expect that they and you will hold me and my team accountable to deliver a transformation that we need and we deserve. But certainly I won't do this by myself. There's a talented team of executives who are leading your association, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to the crew. And so we're going to start with Elaine Richardson. Many of you know Elaine. She is our Vice President of Conferences and Events, and she's generally in charge of making the magic happen. So Elaine, please provide us with an update.
So over the next 12 months, our real goal in conference and events is we're looking at enhancing experiences for everyone. We're redesigning our activations, we're looking at improved technology, and really boosting our sustainability and accessibility efforts for our annual event, both this year and next year. We're also looking at how we diversify events and launching new creative offerings to service our members and stakeholders. And we're really looking to secure prime locations. That's awkward and weird. Sorry, we're looking to secure prime locations in order to ensure that our events can occur where we want, when we want, over the next decade, as time frames and booking windows tighten up. I'll pass it back to you, Henry.
All right, thank you so much, Elaine. Paula, what have we got here?
So next up is hearing from Marshall Norwood.
Oh, okay, great. So Marshall Norwood is our Chief Financial Officer, and he is super disappointed he can't be with us today. Marshall is with his father, who is 88 years old, and today he is celebrating his retirement. from the ministry, so we are enthusiastic in sending him all the best in that particular celebration. But Marshall has also, along with all of us, identified some key elements of moving the organization forward. So one of the things that he wants to focus on is identifying key metrics that can inform our decision-making and our progress measurement. So he will be working with me and the team to put that together. And he'll also be working with Elaine and her team to define and refine the technological resources required to manage the business as we close this year and move into the first quarter. And then in addition to that, he will be creating a dashboard and some analytics that will deliver data and analytical insights for us that allow us to move the business forward. And that, of course, is in addition to the routine roles that a chief financial officer plays, continuing to ensure that the financial integrity of our business and financial performance and data remain sound. So we're excited to have Marshall on the team, and I know that he's going to lead us forward.
And then Kiana Cornish is our next executive, a leadership officer that we'll hear from. Kiana.
Good afternoon, and thank you. It's a truly wonderful moment to be part of the National Black MBA Association. I am the Chief Development Officer here at the association, and I spearhead the national headquarters annual fund development plan and fundraising initiatives, and have oversight of the corporate partners team. I'm excited to share that my work revolves around positioning the association towards launching our $10 million Transform campaign over the next 3 years, which aligns with our new transformation strategic plan. This campaign will focus on the following program areas of our Leaders of Tomorrow Endowment, our Entrepreneurial Institute, and the HBCU Initiative for Career Support, reflecting our commitment to the future of our community. My immediate priorities regarding the Transform campaign over the next 12 months are to develop a case for support for this $10 million challenge, the identification of the consulting firm who will conduct the feasibility study for this campaign, along with engaging board members, association membership, our corporate partners, our impact individuals around this campaign and its goal prior to the campaign's official launch. For we know that we will not reach our $10 million goal by 2028 if we do not have the buy-in, commitment, and support of you. It's my hope that we will work together towards this achievement and align around the transformative power of our collective dollars, community, networks, and organizations towards this exciting new direction in the association. Thank you.
Thank you. That is exciting. And speaking of exciting, we have to figure out ways to elevate the brand. And so it is my pleasure to introduce you to Harold Reed, our new VP of Brand. Tell us what you're working on.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Harold Reed, and I am the Vice President of Brand. So that means I'm responsible for all things marketing, communications, and public relations related to the National Black MBA Association. So my goal over the next 12 months is to help to proactively and profoundly establish a voice for the National Black MBA Association connected to timely and relevant topics. So not just what we're doing from a talent acquisition standpoint, career and leadership development, but also issues connected to DEI or topics connected to DEI as well, because that is what we were founded on. Our foundation heavily relies on that DEI aspect, and we never want to lose sight of that. Additionally, helping to realign the organization's brand standards to just ensure consistency, impact, and a unified look. Whether that is coming from national headquarters or our regional chapters, we want to make sure that the look and feel is similar or the same, depending on what those events look like, reflected from our website, our social channels, and what have you. Last but not least, I want to ensure that we spotlight some of the amazing members and their accomplishments across the board and help to amplify many of the key programs that you're aware of, such as LOT or Leaders of Tomorrow, our conference, and other great events, conferences, summits that we have planned looking into 2025. Just helping to diversify our portfolio in the best way possible and making sure that all of our members, both that are here and our future members, are aware of the profound impact we're making, not only from a community aspect, but also on the business side.
Great, thank you, Harold. All right, so I'd like to toss it back to our resident visionary. Tell me, you've written the vision, you've made it plain. How does this all come together? Tell us what that next step is.
Sure. So, I think that a big part of that is we've got to, as I mentioned in my earlier remarks, a big part of that is we've got to create this life cycle value proposition. We've got to revamp our programming and the way that we look at our programming as leadership development, career development activities. And so the person to do that is my friend and someone that I admire. Dr. Tan Morales is our Chief Learning Officer, and she is going to take us through her thoughts on how we do that.
Thank you very much. It is my honor and my privilege to be here with you guys today. My name is Dr. Tan Morales, and I am the newly minted Chief Learning Officer for the National Black MBA Association. So when I think about people in pursuit of MBAs, right, we serve high school students all the way through the C-suite. And each of those individual groups, as they pursue Masters in Business Administration, are going to work in business or on business, right? Whether you're going to launch your own business as an entrepreneur or you're looking to grow a career. And so every single one of those audiences has a different thing that they're looking to develop, right? What you need in high school is not necessarily what you need as a VP or an SVP or someone in the C-suite. And so how do we build life cycle programming that can grow with you based upon where you are in your specific journey? So two different ways. One is actually scaled entrepreneurship programming, so looking at an entrepreneurship institute. So, if you think about it, you may be a freelancer, right? Perhaps you're in high school and you're a freelancer, right? And you're learning, what does that mean to be in business for myself? What does that mean to collect revenue? How do I realize expenses? All the way through venture capitalism and private equity funds, right? There's so much to learn in between. And we are uniquely positioned with all of our members that are various stages of their careers to help pour into all of these entrepreneurs that are looking to launch or work on their businesses. The second piece of that is going to be lifestyle programming in general. We have a fantastic LLT program, Leaders of Tomorrow, that's been around for nearly 30 years. And that supports our high school students. And we have programming for undergraduate and graduate students as well that needs to be more robust. But think about early career. That's such an opportunity for us. Mid-career professionals, seasoned professionals, right? Those that are maybe at that director and VP level that are looking for the next opportunity, all the way through C-suite. So when we think about life cycle programming, it is a unique opportunity for us and a sweet spot that we can deliver on based upon all of the things, all of the great talent and knowledge that we have in-house. So the second thing that we're going to look at, if you could go back a second.
Sorry.
Back again. Yep, there we go. Is our year-round programming and signature events. So as it was mentioned earlier, a great deal of our revenue comes from our annual conference, and we love our annual conference, and we want to do more things like that. Perhaps we can have more annual summits or regional summits based upon geography, based upon what's trending in the marketplace right now. Right now, generative AI is really big, right? Women in leadership, board readiness, there's so many topics that we are super excited and brainstorming right now to say, how can we do more of this on a smaller scale? There's such an opportunity with our corporate partners and our university partners to really bring some rich content to life that we're hoping can help enable and develop more Black leaders. The last thing that I want to focus on is specifically our Gold Key program. Gold Key has been around some time, and that target audience is really kind of that director level, and I think that there's a ton of opportunity there. So what I'm looking to do is revamp, redesign, refresh our Gold Key program to what I'm calling Premier Status. And what that'll look like is we'll have hybrid style programming where we'll have a group of directors or aspiring directors where they'll go through a series of virtual events, virtual programming, and then there'll also be professional branding as well, right? So imagine over the course of a quarter, perhaps you've met up in Chicago and had a great time. You did 6 or 8 weeks of virtual programming together, and then you culminate in, let's say, Houston, and you now have a family. This is your tribe. This is your cohort of people that are at the level where you are, that have the same aspirations, and are thinking about how to evolve and progress in their respective careers. And now this becomes the group. This is the group that we are saying, this is National Black MBA Verified. This is our talent pool of people that we have personally developed and are now given opportunities with our corporate partners. We have over 300 corporate partners, as you guys know, that show up at our conference and they're ready and they're willing to take on new talent. And how can we ensure that we have developed them and delivered the very best of the best? So something we're all super excited about. You'll hear more about it during our annual conference this year. And I'm vetting a ton of fantastic vendors as we think about opportunities for bio writing, resume writing, headshots, overall professional branding and coaching, right? That's something that is not made accessible to everyone. So how can we democratize that and ensure that we're getting the feedback that we need that's timely to help us make a better career decision? So thank you guys so much for your time, and I'll pass it back.
Thank you, Dr. Tan. We are excited about the way you are transforming programming. Could you talk to us a little bit about the LOT program that recently happened last month?
Absolutely. What an amazing time we had in Washington, D.C. for our Leaders of Tomorrow program. So we hosted 126 students between American University and Howard University, and it was hot and equally amazing. Those students in the case competition, I mean, you would never believe that these were high school students. And each of our judges, there were outside judges, said the exact same. These chapters were so well prepared, and these students did a phenomenal job actually giving recommendations on a specific case. In this instance, the case was actually Spotify, something that they know, something that's relevant, and really thinking about how to move that business forward. And we were so extremely proud of them. And all of the work that they did with the Leadership Institute tracks as well. And we're looking forward to hosting even more students. So this year was 126 students. Next year, we're hoping for 200 students coming to a city in the South near you.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And of course, we are all thrilled and excited about our upcoming conference and career fair. Elaine, could you tell us a little bit more about what's to come there?
For the conference and career fair this year, we're getting ready to have an amazing time in DC. We still have a lot of surprises to come, but key things you're going to see this year are, in addition to our regular slate of excellent sessions, we will have more than 300 hiring companies that are on site doing interviews. We have a new area this year, which is our campus area, where we'll be hosting some new activations, a wellness space. We'll still have our member lounge and our on-site interview prep and resume review station at the Career Success Network Center. But we're also going to see some new and interesting things. We'll have a money stage this year geared toward helping our early career professional manage their finances after they get their positions. And we're going to see some additional activations, and we'll have some special guests join us throughout the event. So we're really excited to see what's going to happen in DC this year.
Yes, cannot wait to see you all in DC. One of the things that I love about this association, though it is not just conference, we provide opportunities for engagement throughout the year. So Dr. Tan, what can we expect for after conference?
Absolutely. We have to make sure there's an opportunity to have fun after conference as well, right? So we are actually hosting our second annual professional recess, which is a cruise for a cause. So the dates are November 8th through the 11th. We'll actually be cruising out of Miami into Nassau, Bahamas. And also, in addition, we'll be raising money for our LOT Scholarship Fund. So please come and join us. It is going to be a fantastic time. Our former chapter president of the Atlanta chapter, Ms. Sonia Stallings, as well as my sorority sister, is our agent. Of course, I had to plug her. Is our agent helping us get this off the ground. So please, payments are due by August. So join us, leaving out of Miami, going to Nassau, Bahamas, that week of Veterans Day. So hopefully you already have that day off, and it'll be a great time for you to plan. School would have already started. Thanksgiving holidays are just around the corner. So timing-wise, we hope it's a perfect spot for you to come out and cruise for a cause and help us raise some scholarship money for our Leaders of Tomorrow program.
Excellent. Can't wait for the cruise for a cause. Okay, so now we want to hear from you. Please use the QR code, use your questions in the chat, and give us the questions that you have that are on your mind so that we can answer them live. While you are doing so, Leslie, tell us how you're feeling. What are you hearing?
Well, yeah, so one, I just want to say thank you to this amazing cast. So, of course, our transformative leader, Henry Beecher Hicks, has done an exceptional job of hiring the right talent. And as you can see, they're bringing the energy. And this year's conference is set to be one for the record book. So I'm extremely excited about that. And as part of the board, leading the board, our vision coming into this conference, especially with all the changes we've had over the years, has been to really select the right leader. We know we have the right leader, and he has given you his path for success, and I cannot wait to see how this conference pans out relative to all the strategic things that they're doing. Innovation is one of those things that continues to ring true. In my mind, I hear from all of our constituencies across the board that this staff is just doing an exceptional job. And so I'm excited to just give them honor. And I'm excited to sit amongst them as they are exceptional leaders. But I want to just say a couple things real quick about the board. So in terms of the board, we see that we have gone through some turbulent times. Our leadership has been a bit inconsistent in the past. The goal was to go through a foundational process of ensuring that our bylaws were in place and that we had a solid foundation for our CEO to be successful. And hopefully that's what you'll see pan out in the next couple of years. There are some visions around our leadership relative to our 5 key thrust points, and that's leadership, lifestyle, entrepreneurship, education, and career. And as Dr. Tan has mentioned, we are cruising for a cause, so we're activating on the lifestyle. We're also doing some exceptional things for education around our membership, development, and also serving as DEI advocates for our corporate partners and our sponsors and folks who really need our advocacy. That is a strong suit for the organization. We believe firmly that talent acquisition is something that we do well, and that's why we continue to see our corporate partners and our sponsors show up every year. This year will not be any different. As you can see, we'll have folks like Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase as our keynote speaker, and we're thrilled about Jamie Dimon, but the list goes on and on. Our staff has secured some amazing speakers, folks that will blow your mind. So you don't want to meet me there, you want to beat me there. And then finally, just achieving our goals internationally. I would love for the term that I have to really build our brand internationally. So Africa would be ideal for us to start, but hey, we're open to recommendations. If our team has recommendations for us to expand globally, that is something that I would like to do before this term ends. And then also just the platform again for our CEO to be successful. We know that he is bringing the noise. How do they say it? Bringing the noise. He is bringing the noise. So we want to be supportive. Henry and I go back and forth. We ideate very well. We can sit for hours and just have conversations around how we want to put a new brand and a new face forward for the organization, and he is doing just that. But without question, we don't want to forget our legacy leaders and the folks whose shoulders we stand on today. We thank you for that. We will always remember you for that, and you will be a part of this innovative process for strategy. So thank you so much, Paula. I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you at conference.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Leslie. All right, our Q&A. The first question is for our president and CEO. So even though there have been plans in the past, what was the need to have another strategic plan?
Well, times change, and even in these days, they change even faster. And I think that it's important to make sure when we develop a strategic plan, it is not just my plan, it's not just the management team's plan, but it's also the board's plan, so that we are in sync together and moving forward together as a combined and unified leadership team. So I think it was really important to look, and as a matter of fact, in putting together this contemporary strategic plan, we did that by taking into account what was included in the last couple of plans that were developed. Plans that had been made and maybe had not been completed altogether, or where there hadn't been follow through. All of those thoughts, all that intellect, all that energy went into developing this plan. So I want to be clear that those plans were not thrown out. They've just been repositioned in this new plan and using the language of this board and this management team.
Excellent. And so you talked about sort of working together. Earlier, you mentioned a revamping of agreements with chapters, and we obviously operate on a chapter model. Talk to me about just working together and what that looks like in this transformative vision.
Sure. So, so first of all, I would say sort of relative to the agreements, it's probably been 15 years since we updated our chapter affiliation agreement, and that's too long. The world is a completely different place than it was then. So we need to do that. And what I would say relative to working together, I think that one of the things that we heard in the research that we did for this strategic plan was that our corporate partners and our university partners see us all as one organization. Now, we're all very clear that the chapters are independent 501c3s, and the affiliation agreement ties or kind of connects, is the bridge between the National Association and the chapter, but our corporate partners don't necessarily see us that way. We all show up with the same logo. And so one of the things that they want to see and know and understand is how can we present as one Black MBA association. And so we need to have the conversation, the dialogue with the chapter leaders about how to do that. We need to face some of the challenges that have occurred with doing this in the past, promises not kept, promises broken, and address them head on and square on. So that we can, what I was calling several months ago, rebuild the trust between the management team and the chapter folks, so that they understand that we really are interested in moving forward as one team. So I think that we'll be looking at ways that we can work with corporate partners together in such a way that we help them advance their relationships with corporate partners without getting in their way. And to the extent that we have corporate partners that are more closely related to the national organization, that we can introduce those folks to the chapters in such a way that it is mutually beneficial. And so that's the kind of work that I think that we need to do as we roll this out. Another element that I would mention, I think all of us or many of us are familiar with the Leaders of Tomorrow, the LOT program. That is one of the things, that is one of the programs that is most consistent across most of the chapters. But one of the things that hurts us in terms of the ability to raise funds for the organization, the national organization as well as the chapters, is that that is the only such program. But I know that there are programs essentially that chapters do, they are the same, but they call them slightly different things. So for example, I know that most chapters do a get ready for conference, dress for success, resume preparation program. But most of the chapters also call it something different in every city. If we were able to align on a single name for that program, even if each chapter does it a little bit differently, it would facilitate our ability to have conversations with grantors about larger dollars that we could then push out to the chapters and help support them. And that would be applicable perhaps in most of the pillars of our organization, where there's some program, there's some initiatives that many chapters are doing, but they're just calling it something different in each city. We call it one thing and advance it, with funders, with grantors, then it'll make everybody stronger.
It's great. Stronger together.
Stronger together. It's called transformation.
Transformation. So I'd like to toss it to our VP of brand out at the end. So stronger together, one organization, even though we have these arms. Talk about how exciting that work is for you and what you and your team will be doing to help us with that sort of one voice campaign.
Absolutely. As our president and CEO mentioned, just having consistency across the board in regards to the programming that we have, the look and feel of it, it will allow us to come together cohesively to share that to a broader audience. Together, we can do some great things, but what we have to do is ensure that how we say it and what we say and what it looks like is similar, because we all are still one, right? We have regional chapters, we have national headquarters, but we all are National Black MBA Association. Regardless of where you are in the country, we all stand as one. And we'll be coming together for the conference really soon. But what's pivotal about that is if we were to bring together a program that was either Dress for Success or another iteration of LOT, and we presented that as a whole or holistically in terms of what was done at conference in DC, that would be amazing, because we can tell the story in its totality. So that would allow brands who would like to support what we're doing, whether that's through funds or value in kind of some sort, to just expand that footprint, and it will allow us to expand our reach. So I'm extremely excited about that opportunity, just to ensure that from all vantage points, we sound similar, and we can also galvanize those results in terms of what we're doing from a business and a community standpoint. So really excited on what that looks like moving forward and what that will look like in 2024, 2025, and beyond.
Excellent, thank you. So we got a question about what we can expect from conference this year that is different from previous years. I'm excited, I'm gonna jump in, but then I wanna ask, of course, my counterparts, Dr. Tan, as well as Elaine, who's on the phone, if there are things that they would add as well. What we are incredibly excited about is that there is something for everyone, and we have tailored the programming to ensure that it meets the needs of those specific audiences. So you heard from Elaine already, where we're having a money stage that will be nestled right on the career fair floor, so our career seekers don't have to leave that career fair floor. It'll be right in between the expo as well as the interview space, where you can get 20-minute sound bites on how you can help build your wealth. So we're excited about that particular activation. We will be in DC, and of course it is the epicenter of many things going on within, of course, government and this country, and so we are having a business town hall where we will hear from business leaders, we'll hear from our very own president and CEO, as well as some political figures, just to get a sense of what's going on in our country, and then having that town hall, we can give feedback back and forth about how we improve and get better together. There will be a state of the Black professional discussion that will happen again, talking about how we elevate together as a community. So excited about that particular activation. And then again, 20-minute sessions, 45-minute sessions. We're having a sports and entertainment summit that will happen. So bringing the best and the biggest names within that space to help our members understand what is necessary to succeed in that space, and then hearing from those business leaders. We're having our Leadership Institute, our Entrepreneur Institute, which happens usually, and then also a technology summit. So making sure that, again, all of our member types are touched, but that specific industries are also highlighted as well. Dr. Tan, anything that you would add?
Just a few things to call out. We are hosting undergraduate and graduate students for our HBCU cohort. So they have been handpicked. Sponsor will be sponsored in terms of travel and accommodations. They're going to have one-on-one time with our corporate partners, which is going to be super exciting for them, as well as their own, programming and spaces. So we want to make sure that we have time for them to be prepared and ready, and the resumes and everything. And I'm really excited for the speakers, right? We've got Jamie Dimon, Stacey Abrams, Fawn Weaver, some really phenomenal speakers that I can't wait to hear from.
Looking forward to it. Elaine, anything that you would add?
No, I think it's those things where you're going to have to be there. So you want to make sure that you get registered and go. Because, you don't want to miss it. And we always have a lot of last minute surprises. So, I'm excited for what people are going to see this year in DC.
Very much excited. Okay, another question for President and CEO. First 9 months, what are some things that you did not expect?
Oh, wow.
Loaded.
I like it. They're not pulling punches. So again, I would say that I think I did not expect, in some way, this is really a good thing. I did not expect so much engagement. So again, the staff is super focused on doing their job. And I didn't expect that. The chapters and the chapter leaders are super focused on being the best they can and doing the best they can to serve their chapters. And I'm not sure that I expected that. And so what that brings about is it has caused me to maybe raise my game. And I've not expected it to be quite as challenging maybe to kind of get through and move some of these things along. I think initially Leslie and I talked about trying to draft the strategic plan in about 60 days. And that 60 days has turned into 9 months. And so it just took a while to get through, kind of get some of the HR challenges kind of sorted out and kind of, make sure that we had the right folks who were on the team who were happy and excited about the direction that we were moving in. And then to get that group of people together and talk about and buy into the strategy that we developed. So we made some conscious decisions to go a little bit more slowly to make sure that we had things in order before we went forward to have this conversation really with the membership. And so there's just been I'll tell you the number one thing that I did not expect was to spend so much time at Hartsfield Airport. It's bad when the TSA people know you by name.
Oh my goodness.
So I didn't expect so much of that, but I asked for it, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm having a lot of fun getting out to visit the chapters and visit the corporate partners, and I want more of it actually. I mean, the one-on-one dialogue and interaction with people, with our members, with our chapter leaders, with our corporate partners, with our university partners. That's how we're going to find those nuggets of opportunity to move the business forward. And so I didn't expect that it would be quite so much, quite so fast, but that's okay. Let's keep it coming.
Keep it
All right.
All right, our next question is for our chairwoman of the board. And so we see now a Black woman at the forefront of lots of conversation lately. Talk to us about being a Black woman leader in this space. Many of our members are also in that space. Talk to us about the challenges, the triumphs, the good and the bad, the ugly. Give it to us.
Oh my goodness, okay. Well, so Paula, that is a great question. I appreciate the audience for asking. And so I will say this, it has been an amazing experience for me thus far. I don't know that many knew I was elected chair, started January 1, and January 4th, I was given a diagnosis of cancer. And so I joined a new party. There was also the Journey Angels that I started to have conversations with around being women, because it was breast cancer, and it was just being women in general, but Black women started to take precedent, started to take a different conversation in my space, and it was more around how do we figure out how to galvanize and win. And now when you think about the conversations that I had that were associated with cancer, and you think about what's happening today, in the news, you find those conversations very parallel. Why? Because as a woman, black, white, green, or whatever the case may be, as a woman in general, we experience very similar walks. There's just a bit of a challenge if you are black or brown and you are from marginalized communities. And that's where those conversations have started to take shape in my life, because now I have a different platform and I am going to share that platform in more of a meaningful way and be a lot more intentional around how I show up as an African American female. So I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be in the chair's role. We have not had many female chairs in the history of the organization. But I'll tell you something, I was born in 1970. We were started in 1970. I am not ashamed to tell you my age. But we were founded in 1970. So such a time as this. And I remember I'm a chapter president. Shout out to all the chapter presidents in the land. I was a chapter president in Memphis, Tennessee, and I started my chapter presidency during the Barack Obama era. And I felt a different rise and a different platform even then. So the time is now for us to understand our roles as African American females and to really step up to the plate. And I am certainly, think the cast will tell you, I'm one for the job. I'm ready for the job. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So our next question is for Dr. Tan. Members are excited about the work that you will do to help transform programming. We've heard a lot about, we have members as young as high school students all the way through experienced professionals. Talk to us a little bit about how you are transforming that program to help members stick with us, if you will, going from the various levels, getting from manager to director and so on.
Yeah, I think there's two major things there. One is designing in a way that is iterative and is inclusive, right? And so as we kind of think about what do you need in early career versus mid-career versus, the time you're a seasoned professional, I have been very lucky to be able to socialize my ideas not only with this team, but with my external thought partners and with our legacy leaders. And that is one of the things that I've been super excited about. I've gotten to be with them 3 times in the last 2 weeks. And when you think about our legacy leaders and our legacy founders, they are a wealth of information and they want to be involved in mentorship opportunities and getting in front of these students. And they need it, right? So, ensuring that we're designing with intent and in an inclusive way. And then the second thing is really that partnership with Kiana and Harold, right? Amplify the message, tell the story, make sure that people know what we're doing. Because if you can design all you want and no one knows about it, then nothing happens, right? So making sure that that partnership is strong and we connect on a regular basis to say, what are we doing here? What can we develop? Who can we tell? Who can we include? And let's make sure that we amplify this story. So just doing more and more of that until people come to expect it, right? Because right now it's not expected. That hasn't been something that we've done previously, but we want to be in a place that our brand is elevated, our value proposition is elevated, and people expect that from us. They want to grow with us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for that. And then what perhaps might be our last question is for Kiana Cornish, who is on the line with us. Talk to us about what that development work looks like. Of course, we know what corporate partner development is, but exactly the work that you are focused on, what does that look like?
So the development work looks like establishing an annual fund, which would be essentially general donations towards the organization. And we would do this by engaging current membership as well as past members back towards our mission. It also is putting together that case for support, which will include a variety of things, the programs that TAN runs within Leaders of Tomorrow, but also a technology package and infrastructure for the organization. As Henry mentioned, that's for our strategic plan. And also more robustly pulling out revenue generating events for the organization. And so those are non-conference related events that will bring in money to the organization. And this will be through things like our executive leadership forums that we'll start to do, more of a series for CEOs and people to come together and discuss topics in different locations throughout the country, as well as more specific one-off events. We have one currently in the works called I'm Not Yelling, which is targeted to happen this October, based on the book by Elizabeth Liba. We have partnered with a wonderful woman in Atlanta, Dwayna, who we are bringing in a phenomenal speaker for this event, and we will be discussing, it's more of a Black women in leadership kind. And so these are the kind of events that will be coming out of the association, which will be bringing not only revenue and money, but also be right towards our mission on trying to connect and lift our community forward.
Excellent, thank you. So of course I have some closing remarks, but would be remiss if I didn't allow our leadership, if there are any final words that you'd like to share with the audience before we part.
Well, I'll jump right in. I want to say thank you to all of you for joining us again today. I want to reiterate my thanks to our board of directors for being extremely supportive of me and my journey, and lastly, the staff, but most importantly, our CEO, who is Henry Beecher Hicks. I've enjoyed my, my walk and my journey with Henry, and I am looking forward to the future. Thank you.
Sure. Well, thank you, Leslie. And I'm having a ball doing the job, and I really want to thank all the chapter leaders and all the members and corporate partners who have welcomed me so enthusiastically to the organization. I'm really excited about this transformation, and I look forward to working and walking and building with all of you.
Great. The National Black MBA Association, an organization in strategic and comprehensive transformation. We continue the work to strengthen Black professionals. No, DEI is not dead. It must not die. It must continue so that all will feel inclusive and belonged in all of the spaces in which we enter. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for your engagement. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other.